can start. All right. Well, I am excited. I know a lot of people could not make it, but they are super excited to watch the recording after. So I wanted to introduce Melody. She is phenomenal. If you have not heard her story, she has gone emerald like that. And so I am excited to ask and just like dig deep into her head and figure out what's going on there so that we can duplicate that and get everything going. And because I know several people just want to know what in the world. And I know that you've been doing lots of Zooms and lots of calls. So I appreciate you taking the time to do this for me and for our team. And so anyway, so tell everybody about yourself and kind of your story and things like that, if you don't mind.
Okay. So, I am a registered nurse by trade. I've been a nurse since 1994, and I worked labor and delivery for 14 years, and then I left that job and I owned my own boot camp fitness business for almost 8 years. So, you know, I had a network of people, but during the last year or so, couple years of my boot camp, I started following my now upline. We don't know who friended who on Facebook, but I followed her for 2 years. It's Lauren Collinsworth. And, you know, I scrolled past a lot of her Plexus posts, but we had things in common. She's a lot younger than me. I'm 46 and she's 30. So we're in different stages of our life, but we found out later that she actually grew up down the street from me. Her grandma was my secret pal at church. So, you know, we had some things in common. So anyway, I watched her for 2 years. You know, during my time with boot camp, people brought things to me all the time. They tried to shove things down my throat. They tried to get, you know, in front of my members. And, you know, I just didn't want any part of that. I was very much against supplementation. And I, you know, taught clean eating and exercise and all that. But even as a nurse, you know, we were not taught anything about the gut. So the whole gut health, you know, science, you know, is really very, very new. And as far as I know, they don't really teach much of it in school today. So hopefully that will change. But so April of 2017, I closed my boot camp, and 2 reasons. One, I was in a lot of pain. I had a basketball injury in high school that required knee surgery. And they told me then, you know, when you got older, I would have to have surgery to clean up arthritis and things like that. So I was getting cortisone shots every 3 months for 3 years, pretty much keeping me going. And I was looking at a knee replacement actually last year was the plan. But I closed my boot camp April of 2017, not only because of pain, but because of my daughter was going through a really rough time. I needed to focus 100% on my family. And she had suffered from depression and anxiety since her 8th grade year when she was 14. So she had been through on medication, hospitalizations, a lot of therapy, and really no change whatsoever. So I decided so I watched Lauren for 2 years, and then decided to finally reach out to her because my daughter's issues then caused me to have severe anxiety and depression, something that I never expected. But I did find myself, you know, now understanding more of what that feels like. And unless you've experienced anxiety and depression yourself, it's really, truly something that people won't understand because it is truly a feeling. So I reached out to Lauren on June the 1st of 2018 and told her I wanted to give it a try. Now, the whole time we followed each other, she never messaged me. And during over the past 6 years, there were 2 other people that mentioned Plexus to me. Meaning like they mentioned the pink drink, they mentioned Slim, but the only thing they said to me was it was a weight loss drink. That's how it was presented to me. And I was still doing my boot camp and I didn't have any interest in it. So the reason I reached out to Lauren, one, was because she posted consistently. Even when I wasn't interested and I scrolled on past, when the time was right, and I do tell people that timing is everything, but that's the thing. She posted consistently. So when the time was right for me, I knew who to reach out to. I could tell she was passionate about Plexus. I could tell that she was knowledgeable about Plexus. She was posting the things that I needed to see, because the 2 things that I needed were energy and something for my mental health, because not only had my daughter been on Prozac at the time, but I was taking Ativan for anxiety. So even as a nurse, I did not want to rely on that. So she was posting Vital Biome. She was posting about Slim. And when I became interested, I made her a favorite on my Facebook feed, so that every time I would open up Facebook, she was educating me, so I would read. I never commented. I never liked, so, I know people get frustrated, when no one comments or likes their post, but that they're still reading it, and even though it may not seem like there's a lot of traffic going on there, people are paying attention. So keep posting. I definitely tell people that. And I read something in the Jewels of Excellence page about, are you open for business? That's a big question. People want to know, are you open for business? And that means, are you posting consistently? Or people can read right through your post. If you're genuine and you're open and you're raw, that you're really, truly wanting to help people, they can tell that, versus someone who's really out there just to build a business and make money. So when I told Lauren from day one, I said, this is my secret. I don't want anybody knowing about this. Don't tag me in anything, because my boot camp in my area, which is Northern Kentucky, was very popular. And, a lot of people know me, and I just did not want to really deal with that, honestly. So, I ordered on June the 1st, and I told her, I said, if I don't like the taste, I'm not going to drink it, because that was a big deal to me. And my box came. I took my first sip on June the 6th, and I absolutely loved it. So, and I have, obviously have not missed a day since. So, my next step was, I decided that about 6 weeks later, I was going to give it a try with my daughter. Now, the interesting part about this was my daughter was living out of state at the time. So I had gone to spend time with her, and I was only supposed to stay a week. And I told my husband, I said, something tells me I need to stay. Like, there's just something, I need to stay. She at the time still having a lot of mood swings. And finally, about week 3 of my 1-week stay, week 3, I even had said to him, I'm going to start her on these Plexus products. I'm going to see if she'll give these a try. Because, I have been doing my research, finding out that, Vital Biome and X Factor were companion supplements, what 5-HTP was, all of the ingredients, all of the natural, plant-based supplements that could help with depression and anxiety. So the middle of July, I started her on Slim, X Factor, and Vital Biome. And within a week, in less than a week, I noticed a huge change in her, which, went from a girl who laid on the couch all day watching Netflix and scrolling on her phone to someone who was up and about wanting to do things. It was a complete, absolute change. And that right there, that's the reason I decided to share, because I thought, you know what? People need to know that, people need to know this, because it's one thing for me to have energy, blah, 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 but it's a whole different thing when you've been the mom of, for going 4 years dealing with mental health issues, hospitalizations. Um, it's not fun. Always trying to find a solution. And I felt like obviously we had finally found a solution in Plexus. So Lauren never bugged me. She didn't hound me about posting or anything like that. I finally reached out to her and said, I think I have something, because I originally told her if I decide to share, it would be probably 6 months, because I wanted this huge testimony, right? Like this blow it out of the water kind of testimony. So I made my first post on July the 20th. And literally it was a picture of Lauren and a picture of Vital Biome. And I said, my daughter and I have been been using these supplements. We've seen some really good, blah, blah, blah. It's very short and sweet. And if anybody had questions, reach out to Lauren. I didn't even say reach out to me. I just said reach out to Lauren. So obviously Lauren had added me to a bunch of groups, and they were doing posting challenges and things like that. And one of the posting challenges was, what is your why? State your why. So I decided, okay, I'm going to do this challenge. So it took me several hours to write up our testimony. And I'm sure many of you have already seen that. It's been shared lots and lots of times. It's out there. And that post, that testimony, is when things really started to ramp up for me. It was very raw. It was very vulnerable. Being that I owned my boot camp, one of the things that I always dealt with that was a personal thing was how I always worried about what people thought of me. I was a people pleaser, and I knew when I shared this story that, my success or whatever could have gone one way or the other. I could have fallen flat on my face, or I could have been successful, because I was against supplementation. And, here I was, essentially, what happened? Why all those years she preached about no supplementation, blah, blah, blah. And here she is now promoting it. But, life experiences brings you to where your next chapter is, right? So all that time that I was dealing with my daughter, I prayed and prayed and prayed for purpose. And I felt like, when I closed my boot camp, my purpose was gone. But now God had provided me a whole new, purpose in Plexus, which was something I never, ever expected. So before I even shared, I was already silver. My niece was my first ambassador. I shared with her, and she signed up. A mutual friend of mine and Lauren's, I noticed that she had posted on one of Lauren's comments or whatever. And I said, hey, I know her. And she's like, okay, let's get her signed up. And then my third ambassador to go silver was my husband. So I did go silver before I even shared, because I was telling a few people privately, like my small circle, because I just wanted to see, like, oh my gosh, what are people going to think? So I told my close friends first. I told my family. They were very supportive. You do whatever you need to do to help you, feel better. So anyway, end of July, I shared our big testimony. My inbox started blowing up. I put everybody in 3-way messages with Lauren, because I had no idea what I was doing. And I look back now and think, wow, she did a lot of work, to help me, because like I said, I had no idea what I was doing. And she took over, answered questions, sent the right information. And by the end of July, we had signed up 40 ambassadors. So that was pretty exciting. And the one thing that kept coming back to me was trust. These people trusted me. Just, I had a background in fitness. I am a nurse. A lot of people said that I know that you would have never shared this had you not done your research, that you believed in it. I would have never tried this if it hadn't been for you sharing it. So that was the end of July. And then we went into August, the National Sip and See Day. We were a site for the National Sip and See. And just so happened that week we were doing a 7-day trial, my first 7-day trial. And we had over 250 people in that trial. And I mailed all of those from out of state. So, just that alone, I started my business not even home. I wasn't even at my own home when I started the business part of Plexus. So, by the end of August, we had signed another 113 people. So, and Lauren helped me do a couple of like stacking incentives, where we reimbursed some of the membership fee. All of this stuff I'm learning. This was all brand new to me. She even taught me how to send money through the Facebook Messenger, through payments on the Facebook Messenger. I didn't even know what the voice message thing was in Messenger. So she taught me how to do that. Where to find those testimonies. Even being a nurse, people were messaging me, does Plexus help this? And it would just be a bunch of initials. I had no idea what that was, but sure enough, there was a testimony related to, what they were asking about. So that was really neat. I'm learning a lot, not only just Plexus, but, medically, which is very intriguing to me anyway, as a nurse. So what I like to tell people is, I think one of the reasons that we've been successful, I had a network because of my boot camp, but honestly, the majority of my team are not from that boot camp. They are extensions of, more or less, maybe friends of friends. And that's something I did in boot camp too, was I would go in and just add friends to my Facebook randomly. So build your network. If, I've got team members right now that really want to build, but they only have 600 friends on Facebook, and that's the number one thing I tell them is you need to add friends, make connections. These are friends of friends. So build your network. The other thing that we do was we create an environment, that people want to be a part of. So make things exciting. I started doing team meetings every week when I got back home in August. People like to be a part of something, especially women. They like to be a part of something. So create that environment that people are attracted to, that people want to be a part of. So the team meetings, we would do fun little giveaways. Now we have a calendar of lunches, kind of girls' night out. Again, things that people want to be a part of. And that's something that I learned in our boot camp, that people like community. So, I like to say that Plexus is our foundation now. It's what brought us together, but then we build on that and, take women in, empower them, help them believe in themselves, lift them up, motivate them. Because people ask me too, do people join and they know they want to sell? None of these women ever gave that a thought. But once their testimonies started coming out, they had testimonies. We did some challenges, encouraging them to share. Then it's kind of like they've almost more or less kind of followed the leader, I guess, that they felt like, okay, if she can do this, then I can do this. And, you know, I like a good challenge. I'm a little competitive myself. So, you know, that's kind of how it's been in our team. We like to create the fun. Again, things that people want to be a part of. So when I went Ruby, for instance, Lauren got me this Kendra Scott necklace. I had no idea who Kendra Scott was. You know, I'm 46. My upline is in their 30s. So these women have opened up a whole new world to me. When I was in boot camp, my hair was super short. I wore a ball cap all the time. And, you know, I decided to grow my hair out, things like that. You know, women like to, it's empowering for women to get their hair done, you know, wear makeup, wear jewelry, you know, have fun with those types of things. So these women have opened up a whole new world to me, of things. So that's a lot of fun. But that's kind of, you know, more or less what we do is create the environment. People need to trust you. You know, when they're messaging you, are you getting back to them? You know, are you, you know, getting the information that they need? If you don't have the answer, put them in messages with your upline. You know, find them the information that they need. You know, they want to be a part of something. So I have a team group for my ambassadors, but then Lauren had already created, there's another group that she has for any potentials. And we add people to that group, and we, you know, share testimonies and do things in that group as well. So, you know, connecting people is really, really important. And then recently, my daughter decided to finally share. My daughter made her first post this week and did her first live and a giveaway. So she's pretty excited, but just catching the vision, you know, catching the, you know, the belief, the passion, things like that. So that's what we do.
That's awesome. My first thing is usually when I have somebody like a brand new person, the last thing I want to do is add them to lots of groups. So is that how many groups when
Right.
Lauren added you? Because I know most of mine that I add are yellows because I'm a yellow and I attract a lot of yellows.
Yeah.
And it overwhelms us when we're in too many things. So did you feel like you were in a lot of groups that overwhelmed you or anything, or you just caught the vision?
No. So initially, she added me to our upline, digging for diamonds. And it was interesting because periodically, even though I told her not to tag me because I knew there was people in there that knew me, but she would tag me just because it was important information that she wanted me to see. And every time she tagged me, I'd kind of gasp like, oh gosh. And when I went silver, she announced me in that group. Like, you know, she didn't announce me on her main wall or anything like that. She announced me in that group. But that was the thing too, is, you know, she did keep me connected even when I was like, no. And the things that she was tagging me in at the time was like things about Leaders Retreat. And once I finally decided to share, you know, I did earn Leaders Retreat, which was a ton of fun. You know, that was really the first thing that I earned. But that was really the only group she had added me to. And then as I started to grow, you know, I got added to, you know, the groups above her, you know, on up the line more or less. But then I started adding myself to other groups. You know, I started finding other groups I wanted to be a part of. So what I tell my people, I add them to our team group, and then I tell them, I will not add you to another group until you request. And I list out here is the possible groups that you can be added to.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be added to, you know, I will add you. But then I also tell people, if you become overwhelmed, you know, because not only are there groups, there's also message threads where there's a ton of message threads that you can be a part of. And I tell them, you can be as active as you want. It's totally up to you. But if you find yourself in a bunch of groups and a bunch of message threads that become overwhelming, take yourself out.
Yep.
Either turn your notifications off or remove yourself. If you want to be added back in later, that's perfectly fine.
Right.
But, you know, I'm pretty good at scrolling,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then I can pick and choose what I want to see. You know, if people aren't good at scrolling, more or less, you know, then they need to, you know, pick and choose what they want to be in. You know, I mean, my news feed is full of Plexus, which is perfectly fine with me, but, you know,
Yeah.
everybody's different. I get it.
I have another question, because I know it's what everybody's probably thinking. So how is it that you were able to help catch all of your people the vision that you caught so early on and getting them to post? How did you get them to post? How did you feel like was the connecting dot that got them that belief right away, so that it obviously boosted you up into ranking up quickly?
Yeah. Well, you know, I would tell them, you know, one, you know, I followed Lauren for 2 years. Don't be like me. Number one, you know, don't wait that long.
Right.
But again, timing is everything. Had I joined Lauren 2 years ago, I really wouldn't have had so much of a reason, right?
Right.
You know, my testimony is specific to, you know, what we had gone through, right? So, with that, you know, I tell them, as soon as you see results, don't be selfish.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it is selfish not to share. If you have something to share, and then I'll have people say, well, I really don't have, my story is really not that big. And, you know, we had an event last night. It was our first big event at a restaurant, and we went around the room. We had potentials there and ambassadors, and I had each ambassador share something about their testimony. And some of the people in the room have not shared yet. But, you know, for instance, one particular lady, you know, her testimony is her toe fungus. Okay, well, that's not too exciting, but there's a lot of people that deal with toe fungus. They don't go around telling everybody, but
Nope.
it's a big deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that in itself could really help a lot of people.
Yeah.
Another story, you know, I have an ambassador who, you know, again, well, I really don't have that big of a story, but she started her teenage son, college son, on ProBio because of his acne. And, you know, he started taking it. Well, then they ran out. So, you know, she ordered again because he was asking, Mom, where is that, you know, where's that medicine? So she ordered it, and, you know, he started taking it again. Well, guess what? She ran out again. And he was like, Mom, don't ever run out again. And she also noticed that her sinuses were not draining, you know. And, you know, again, I think people think they need to have this big weight loss story or this big thing, but, you know, those are still big.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, for teenagers, acne is a big deal. Self-image is a big deal. So I think it's just the encouragement of, yeah, you do have a story,
Yeah.
you know, and people need to hear that. So, you know, the interesting thing last night too was the lady that shared about her toe fungus. She brought her entire family with her, and an ex-sister-in-law who happened to be hanging out with her. And she said, oh, you know, if you want to go, I've got this event. It's about these supplements. You know, she kind of downplayed the whole thing, right? And I was giving away some prizes. supplements. And I pulled her name, and she won a bottle of ProBio. Well, the funny thing was, they were just telling her, because the testimonies had gone on, and the ex-sister-in-law, they were telling her like, oh, you could use that. You could use that. Well, she ended up winning a bottle of ProBio. And she says to her ex-sister-in-law, why didn't you ever tell me about this stuff? And she said, well, because if I would have told you, you probably would have shot me down.
Mm-hmm.
So having events like that where
Mm-hmm.
people could hear testimonies, I'm sure all 12 of those potentials last night are going to either order or sign up.
Yeah.
They were just amazed. But I just tell them to not share is selfish.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I agree.
when I felt like we finally had something, there's no way I could not have shared that.
Mm-hmm.
No way.
Yeah. I mean, the depression stuff, I understand.
Yeah.
My dad suffered my whole life, so I know what that looks like. I've dealt with it as a child, seeing that. So, and I know as now, seeing my dad as an adult on Plexus and not having those issues is huge, because he's not had a down moment since, and that's amazing. So these products are something, that's why I do what I do, and I share from the rooftops.
Right. Absolutely. I think the other thing that scares people is there are people that have, they have jobs that they dearly love, right?
Yeah.
So I have the lady that does my pedicures, she's a specialist. Like, she specializes in diabetic foot care. She takes care of cancer patients. She's not a podiatrist. She is a medical pedicurist. Okay. But she is one of my ambassadors because she herself has an issue with her blood sugars. So I went into her last week, went to see her, and she's just funny. She's funny. She's like, I hate you. I said, why? What did I do? She's like, well, I started taking my products consistently again. And her husband said to her, what is wrong with you? He's like, you have been sleeping really good. You're in a good mood when you wake up in the morning. What are you doing? And she looked at him and said, and she gave him a dirty look and said, Plexus, and she said, I didn't want to tell you that because I know the next thing you're going to ask me for is my testimony. And she's like, I'm going to give you my testimony, but she said, I don't have time. She is a one-man show. Mm-hmm. She loves the products. All of these diabetic patients and everybody she sees, because she loves ugly feet. She likes to work on people's gross feet. But she believes, she knows that everybody could benefit. All of her clients could benefit by ProBio. At the very least. She said, so what am I going to do when I have all these people? I don't have time to do this. And I said, send them to me. Yeah. Send them to me. I will sign them up under you or whatever. I will take care of that for you. So, I think some people are just afraid, like, if I share this, I'm going to be busy and I don't have time. Maybe. Yeah. Honestly.
Yeah. So I think that's normally what happens, is that a lot of people think that it's going to take a ton of time. And really, like you said, if you post consistently, people are going to come to you no matter what. There are some questions. I know tons of people have questions. So there was one that we know you hit Emerald in about 6 months. And then about how many business builders do you feel like you have right now?
Right now. So I have two girls that just went senior gold the end of January.
Okay.
I have 3, including my husband, I have 4 golds. And then I think we have about 27 silvers at this point. So that's where we are now. I have a thread of business builders that are about 60 people. But they're not all sharing yet. They're interested.
Well, that's good though.
They want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, I think it's kind of a follow the leader kind of thing. You know, some of them, they're, you know, they're not real good with Facebook, I guess. Some of them are older. I do have people that share, you know, privately. They're just not ready to, you know,
Yeah. And like you
do
said,
a lot of
it's
Facebook.
all God's timing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I have a school teacher that is silver that just shares within her school. She's got her principal. She's got, you know, a couple of her team, you know, team teachers or whatever that she's, you know, signed up. But she really hasn't shared on Facebook yet. And,
Right.
you know, we'll get there. We'll get there. But a lot of women, including myself, worry so much about what people think. And honestly, that is one thing Plexus has really helped me with, is to, you know, a confidence builder. And number two, you know, like you said, shout it from the rooftops, you know, no shame, you
Right.
know, have belief in your products, you know, be a product of the product. I mean, 2 weeks into me sharing, um, so my boot camp, I had about 25 employees. I had an advisory board. I had a staff. And about 2 weeks into me sharing, a group of them blocked me and bashed me on Facebook. So, you know, they blocked me from seeing the post. So then I turned around and blocked them because I thought, you know what? I haven't heard from you people in over a year. And after I closed my boot camp, didn't hear a word from them in over a year. And everything I went through, no one bothered to even check on me. That's kind of odd, you
Right.
know, but then they felt the need, like they had a say in my life. But I'll tell you, that was one of the most freeing, liberating times for me, was to block them.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, you know what? No way. This is my new venture. You know, I'm not going to let this happen to me again, you know, because being a business owner is hard.
It is.
You know, it's very hard. But Plexus is a whole different, you know, I love it. I absolutely love it. Because you have so much more support. You know, corporate is awesome.
Yes.
If you've not ever been there, put that on your bucket list to visit corporate, because that right there will build your belief. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's amazing. So
I agree. Several of
I
us
have
have
a
been. Go ahead, Ashley.
I was just going to say, I have a quick question, Melody. I saw that you have a Plexus specific page.
you know what? I do, but I don't use it anymore.
I was just wondering your feedback, because it looks like it hasn't been posted on since October. So I was wondering if you felt like it was a good idea, if it's a bad idea, if it was what you needed at the time, but now you don't feel like you need it, kind of.
Right. So let me tell you about that. What I did, that was my old boot camp page, and I renamed it because back when I was doing boot camp, Facebook actually shut down my private Facebook profile and made me into a page, because they would message me. They would almost message me and say, you know, this is a business. When I was posting about my boot camp, you can't promote a business. If you're promoting a business, you need to have a page, a business page.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what Facebook does is, if they try to force you into using a page, you know, people don't see your page like they see your personal profile, and they want you to pay for advertisement, which I paid for a lot of Facebook advertisement. So before I learned the algorithm of Facebook, I used that page. And, you know, I've since learned how to get your stuff through the Facebook feed, right? Well, the other thing about a page is you can't block people from seeing your page. So there were still my creepers, basically. And I thought, you know what? Nope, I'll just stop posting on that page, because I get better, you know, more people see my stuff on my page, on my profile, than they do on that page, because I was having to get it out there. I was having to do like likes and shares and comments to get, it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder to get people to see your page versus your own news feed. And for that reason, plus if you have anybody you need to block, you can't block people from seeing a business page. Can't do it.
Right. That makes sense. One other question. I know you said you got 250 people into a 7-day trial group.
Yep.
So I would love to know what you think, like, at what point in this journey, what rank were you at that time?
Well, I was technically only a silver. So
okay.
Yeah, so that trial was in August, and we do a 7-day trial every month. So
okay. And was this you personally had 250 in there, or your team had 250, or the group as a whole had 250?
No, that was me personally.
And what would you say, was that messages? Was that posting? Was it like, how'd you get 250 people?
It was just from posting. It was my initial posting. So, and from my original, I guess, network from my boot camp. So,
and were people reaching out to you asking to be a part of it? There was no cold messaging.
No,
it was all just because of the network. My parents own a gym, so I hear you there. When I started, it started fast because of having that network.
Right.
How have your sip and seas gone since? Because you said you do them every month.
So we do the 7-day trial every month.
Or the 7 days, sorry. Yes.
Yeah. So obviously that was my biggest one. Since then, me personally, I average maybe 10 to 20 in each one, because, I'm building, I've got down to level 4s now. We're probably going to start to have level 5. So I'm going to start getting a little deeper as time goes on. But what that's allowed me now is better follow-up. I built so quick, so fast. It was hard to coach that many people. Obviously we've had good retention, but, I like being quote unquote a little slower, that I can actually put a little bit more attention into those people and coach them and get them all the information that they need. And having those business builders that can also take care of their team members is so very helpful. I mean, all those, they're all on my team page, so everybody gets the same benefits basically. Everything that we offer, but still it's so much more manageable when you can take care of people. You know what I mean? So, and I'm learning more as I go. Quality is always going to be better than quantity. That's hard in the beginning when you're trying so hard to add numbers, because this business is built on numbers. It really is. But at the end of the day, as you learn more and more, like I have, you're really looking for quality. You're looking for the people that are going to be committed. So
that totally makes sense. Now, how are you getting your team to duplicate, like getting people into these 7-day trial groups? Is it like you holding their hand? Is it you giving them a script or a post? How does that look?
No, I don't hold their hand. They just kind of take it and go with it. I mean, they'll
like, this is what you're doing, so they just follow.
Pretty much. Yep.
Is that the same?
And then they'll message me for help.
So pretty much is that the same when you're trying to get them silver? So pretty much, do you have everybody in a thread and you're like, hey, everybody watch this video, and hey, here's something great on how to go silver? Or are you individually messaging them, or both?
So I have what I called a business builders thread. So this is all the people who have told me that they're interested in building a business, whether they're building or they're still interested, right? Well, then once they go silver, they get bumped into another thread called My Silver Stars. So they get entered into that thread. And then as they continue to rank, they go into other threads. So after the Silver Stars thread, they go into the Glorious Golds thread. And then now I have a Ruby Bound thread of my 2 senior golds. So because those conversations are different, you know,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
someone that's headed for Ruby is a whole lot different than those that are gold, you know.
Exactly.
So yeah, so they kind of, you know, work their way up through those threads. But
So
you
do
know,
you
I get
feel
into
like,
my business builders thread every day.
okay, that's what I was going to ask. Do you feel like you're more in threads or on your team page?
For business builders and threads.
Got it.
Definitely in threads. On my team page is more like information, incentives, you know, more fun stuff, I guess, more or less. But my threads are for my more, you know, serious business builders. Like I'll get on my business builders thread on the weekend and say, hey, you know, it's the weekend. This is your prime time for IPA. People tend to be on social media on the weekend. You need to be posting today, you know, and have you, you know, what are you doing today to help you reach your goal? I mean, you know.
Right.
So.
There was one question a while back, and if you have somebody that feels like they're stuck or they're in a rut, how do you feel like you can keep them active? I know you've only been doing this for 6 months, but sometimes people get that head trash early on. So how do you feel like you're keeping that belief and that momentum going for them?
Well, I just posted a diamond documentary video in our group, actually, that, you know, I wanted to remind people, because I haven't even, 9 months. I personally am just coming up on 9 months. And there's a lot of good videos out there about it takes on average 9 months to a year to go silver. Mm-hmm. So I have shared those, and I mean, my goodness, I have 2 golds right now that are kind of pouting because, you know, there are 2 other girls went ahead of them and they're senior gold, and they're in a little bit of a rut. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys, you are gold. Holy moly. Look at you need to watch these YouTubes. Like you are so far ahead of where you should be. So yeah. But women, they compare.
I know. And that's what we have to keep reminding everybody is like comparison is a thief of joy, and it will literally ruin you. I know I did it in the beginning and several.
That's right.
So does anybody else have any other questions? Like that they like, oh my gosh, I want to ask her this.
I feel like my biggest takeaway from it is the fact that like you go out and you're working your business, like you're doing it. You're not afraid to share. I love the like keeping it quiet, selfish, like not sharing is selfish.
Yeah.
Because I think so, like we can get in our own heads about that. And so I love that. And I feel like I personally just need to share with my team what I'm doing more. Like this is because if they don't see it or like I'm not actually working with them, like do they even know what's happening behind the scenes? And you know that I'm staying up just for 15 minutes. For 15 minutes before I go to bed, I'm gonna send these messages, and then I'm cutting it off too. I'm not staying up till 3 a.m. to send messages. You know, I think it's easy for us to say, oh, well, she probably just never sleeps, or oh, her kids are better behaved, so she does. You know, she has more time.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, that's huge.
You have to decide where you want to be. You know, for me, I'm an all or none person. So when I decided to go in, I went all in. That's my personality, you know, but, you know, I also tell them maybe a good IPA is set your timer, you know, do 10 good minutes of, you know, just go straight down your news feed. As soon as you come across somebody, send them a message. It doesn't have to be about Plexus. Just send them a message, send a happy birthday. You know, whatever it is, and, you know, work your business. You know, yesterday before our event, or I sent over 300 follow-up messages. Hey, we're having an event tonight. We'd love for you to come. Yeah. And honestly, I did get some messages back. Hey, I can't make it tonight. Let me know when the next one is. Mm-hmm. Okay. That opens up, like, I've got some, people are still interested. Yeah. And they are, but it's timing. So I want people to see me when they hear my name. They know who I am, and they can connect me with Plexus.
Well, and I'm guessing you're an extrovert. Is that a fair assessment?
Not really. I mean, I'm not somebody that you'll see at the club or whatever. Like,
well, I guess, but you'd rather be with people than sitting at home.
I'm half and half, I guess. I mean, I have to be with the right people.
More extroverted to me.
Yeah.
And I think what's big in that is if you're connecting with people, people will reach out to you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be all, like, we do a lot of cold messaging on our teams. Mm-hmm. But a lot of our leaders are very introverted.
Yeah.
And so, like, if you're not out, you have to cold message, because if you're not out, like, getting to know people and connecting with people, you kind of have to. But if you're out connecting with people and having genuine conversation and keeping those conversations going, you don't have to do as much cold messaging. You have to keep the relationship going through messages and stuff like that. Right. But you don't have to be as.
Right. Well, when I go to the gym in the morning, I don't have to say a word about Plexus. They already know. If they have questions, they can pull me aside, but I don't have to walk in there and be like, hey, the Plexus Queen is here. They already know, who I am and associate me with, Melody does Plexus. And they know, if they want to talk to me or they want to message me,
you're there.
Yeah, they can do that. So you have to put yourself in places where people can connect. Mm-hmm. Whether it's in various groups on Facebook or, your church. I mean, your kids, your group, if you have kids in sports or whatever it might be, you want people to know that, okay, she does Plexus, mm-hmm. and they know that they know who to come to when the time is right, basically, Right. So, I mean, like I said, I had a couple other options, couple other people I could have signed up with, mm-hmm. because they mentioned it to me first, but those people don't post, like, they're not building a business. And I would not be where I am today had I signed up with one of them. Mm-hmm. I signed up with Lauren, and that was the absolute best choice because she has, coached me. We make a great team. So that's really important too, that you're attracting people that want to, join you, to lock arms with you, to build a business, to build a relationship, so.
Quick question. What does it look like for your people in going silver? Like, what's the first step you have them do and to get there and to get them going? Like a challenge, or what would it look like if I just signed up underneath you? What would you do for me?
Mm-hmm. So, now that we have the new Fast Start program, mm-hmm. so as soon as we sign people up, we send that information. Hey, FYI, here's an option for you. Be a good time to, ask some friends and family if they'd like to join you. So the fresh start of the Fast Start has been fabulous. The other thing I do is I do drawings every month for anybody that goes silver. They go into a drawing for, whatever it might be, a gift or something like that. So there's always a tangible item that they could win. Right. And it's Super Saturday. And we started this in December, but it's Super Saturday. They said it. You should strive to go silver every month. Mm-hmm. You should strive to sign 3 new team members, 3 new ambassadors every month. That should be minimum for you. But, for one of the
Sorry,
things.
Melody, really quick on that. You said anyone that goes silver. So is that anyone that goes silver again, or just silver the first time you put them in a drawing?
Silver the first time. Yeah.
Okay.
Silver the first time they go into a drawing. But I have other things going on, like I have a contest right now that they can earn their airfare reimbursed for convention. And they need to sign at least 3 new ambassadors in the months of January, February, March, and April. And, again, they could potentially get their airfare reimbursed. Because I'm not going to reimburse it till we're in Vegas, kind of thing. But I do little challenges like that, again, to encourage them. Because one, I want them to be in Vegas,
Right.
That's a big deal. So, yeah.
Okay, I have one more question. I know you said you started in June. In July, you had like 40 new people, and August, like 113. How, obviously, those people are staying consistent and ordering every month and staying on their product. How do you feel your team is keeping those people active? Because I feel like like December, my team grew by 14, but January, I feel like all those people had fallen off again. And I feel like I'm doing all the things that I've been told, but I just cannot keep people consistent. So how do you feel you're doing that?
So there are some, I don't know if you've seen them, or there's some really nice graphics out there that go along with our welcome packs on how to introduce your products. So I will send them, graphics like that, or even videos. I'll tag them. So we've got a few things in our group for new people. And Tara Castaneda does some really nice YouTube videos on your triplex and, things like that. And I got to meet Tara out at corporate last month. Very, very sweet. But she's got some good stuff. So make sure that they have the information available, tag them, follow up with them, invite them, because some people don't feel like, well, that's for business builders. I'm not part of that. And I do things for my business builders as well as my wholesalers. So, just for participation. So, all you can do is follow up.
Right.
We can lead them, but ultimately I don't micromanage. Either you want to or you don't. And, unfortunately, it's a risk, right? Basically, we're taking a risk every time we sign somebody up, even though we tell them 60 to 90 days, 60-day money back guarantee. I mean, I just had a girl last week who signed up the end of January and messaged me and said, that pink drink is yucky. I got my money back. And I said, okay, well, I'm sorry to hear that. We do have another pink drink, and, nothing, crickets, right? So they make their decision. Maybe 6 months down the road, she'll come back around and try it again, because corporate is so nice that they don't have to send anything back, and they have all that product sitting there that, chances are they're still going to use, even though they got their money back. But yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like you make it fun. Like you make it a community.
Yes.
If people buy into the community, they're so much more likely to stick with it. I think that's the biggest piece, is trying to figure out how to create a community with people so that they want to be a part of it. And to be a part of it, you got to be consistent with your products,
Right. And I do drawings for CQ every month. Whoever CQ goes into a drawing. It's as easy as that. People like to win things. That's 2 things I learned in my boot camp. People like to be recognized, and people love to win things. They love rewards. So
I agree.
Everything, a lot of the things that I do, you got to be CQ. So
And CQ, if you don't know, that means commission qualified. All that means is you've hit that 100 PV and you are able to earn for your own products and things like that from then on. And we do that on our team. I think that, like you said, it's all in their timing and stuff, because I know for our team, I feel like we're following up. I feel like we're doing the things, but sometimes those people just need that belief. And as long as we are happy and just keep encouraging them, and like you said, with the wholesale stuff, loving on them, even if they're wholesale, because you never know, like you said, they could build that belief and be your rock star that just needed a few months to learn a little bit more.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of those stories out there. I quit Plexus, you know.
Right.
Over the weekend, I just had a girl message me and said, you know, she ordered in September, canceled the next month, but she's ready to jump back on again. Okay, you know, let's do it.
And I think that's the thing. As long as we're happy and just loving on them, no matter where they're at, I think that that's the joy in this business. And the fact that, like you said, you're constantly giving prizes, and that's something that we like to do on our team too. And go from there. Now, we don't have different message threads. I only have 2. And so maybe that's something that we utilize that, well, actually I have 3 now, but either way, we might be something good to do. We do have a going silver page. So any of those people that are just trying to hit silver, even if you're trying to hit silver again, we have all kinds of events, and I just started all that up again. And I feel like something that could be utilized. So when you said there was a challenge, and that's kind of where you found your why, and you got that going and wrote that down, do you constantly do challenges like that so that hopefully you get that belief from those people too?
Well, our upline does a lot of the IPA challenges.
Yeah.
So they can follow those with her if they're business builders. Within my group, I'll throw out some random challenges. Like last month, I did a selfie. You know, post your selfie with your favorite product, you know, each day this week, because, and I told them, you know, this post has to come directly from you, a picture of you with your favorite product, why you like that product, because people connect with that. You know, we can copy and paste stuff all day long, but when they see a picture of you describing your experience, your testimony, that's really where they get the most out of it.
Yeah. And we're really big on that. I mean, especially on our team, if I see graphics and things like that, I usually reach out to them right away, because people don't follow that, they follow you. So I agree with that, hands down. So you said you did post your selfie. What else might, just to give some ideas, what else might you have them do?
Their first live. I think lives are really important. People connect to you with lives. And I know that's scary for people, but you know, it's also a confidence builder, you know, for people to really get outside of their comfort zone. So lives are a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, posting that first testimony, you know, starting to post consistently. So that's the challenge. Are you posting consistently? So,
I think that's Zoom. Do you guys have any other questions? I don't want to keep her any longer, because I know it's 10 o'clock her time. Ashley, Tiffany, Elizabeth, anybody? Leisha?
I'm good. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, we appreciate it for taking the time to do that, because we all want to tap in to figure out what is so unique that you're doing, that your team is just duplicating and just blowing up, that maybe our teams could start doing and utilizing and going from there. So it sounds like the big things are loving where they're at, prizes, giveaways, encouraging them no matter what, and not overwhelming them, and just going from there.
Right.
And then the thread.
Right. Yeah.
Having threads.
Just have fun.
Yeah. Well, I love it. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. I cannot wait, because I know that your next drink is going to be awesome, and it's going to be coming soon, I bet. So
I hope.
All right. Well,
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you at convention. Bye.
All righty. Yeah. Thanks. Bye. So